Hello, Merlyn.Silva here, and in today's video we're going to go down a bit of a sound design black hole, playing with a trick that I've been experimenting with over the last few weeks. We're going to have a look at what happens when you overdrive the input of some analog modelled effects in Ableton Live. Cool, let's go and check it out. Okay, wicked. So here I've got a really simple project, and I've used the stock 808 kit with a stock clip to make a little drum beat. Sweet. And what I've got here is a really simple rack. It looks a bit weird, but it's super simple. I've got two utilities, and I've mapped the gain control to this knob here. And I've flipped the mappings. So that means when I turn it up, this utility gets louder and this utility gets quieter by the same amount. So what I can do here is put an effect of my choice in the middle and find out what happens when we overdrive the inputs. Let's go ahead and do that. Lots of my students, they drop this effect in and they turn up the drive. And they get this quite specific, really cool drive, but they often kind of stop there and don't experiment anymore. So this is modelled on a tube, and when we think about modelling, or we hear the word like analog modelled or tube modelled, tape modelled, whatever, it often means that the programmers have used a non-linear approach to the difference between the inputs and the output. So often that means the more volume you put in, the more different, or the differently the effect will behave. Let's check out what happens here. I'm going to turn up the gain rather. So yeah, really lovely, tubey, crunchy kind of vibes. And a cool thing here is I've still got more drive to add. Let's do that. Cool. So as we can see, overdriving the inputs into this dynamic tube creates its own saturation, and we can then add to that with saturation in the device. But I think this sounds lovely. Compared to if we just use the drive and don't overdrive the inputs. So that's the basic idea I wanted to go through in this video. This idea that if you overdrive the inputs, again, you might get a different result than if you didn't. Let's move on. Let's check out another analog modelled effect, which is the glue compressor. And I'm sure many of you already use the soft clipping and the lovely juicy saturation we can get out of this. But I'm going to once again, now with the clipping on, add gain into the device and see how it sounds. Lovely. And as you can see here, I've used a limiter because a lot of the time we get a lovely sound, but the output isn't always kind of logical to the input. So in this case, very quiet, but when we boost it, and it has so much character, this saturation. It really has a, analog vibe to it. It's very smooth and creamy and crispy, and it doesn't have any kind of digital hard clipping or aliasing vibes going on, to my ears at least. So I think this is a really nice way, especially of this saturating drums. Wicked. So yeah, dynamic tube, glue compressor. here's a funny idea that I found when I was playing around for this video. So in Live 11, Chorus-Ensamble, and I believe also the hybrid reverb, no, the flanger, has this warmth dial enabled, which is a bit of saturation, and I believe, or I experienced, that it shelves the high end a little bit. It seems a bit kind of cut in the highs. So let's play the drums and add some warmth. Cool, so we got some chorus in there, and I took the width off. We've got this kind of nice, chilled saturation. Let's drive the input again. Really cool. I really, really like that. And even at kind of subtle amounts. Totally has like a tape vibe to it. I think it's really, really nice. So yeah, the Chorus-Ensamble, I guess that will also work on the flanger. I'm assuming pretty much the same. Sweet. Interesting things. So next up, I'd like to have a look at pedal, which is another device that's modeled on something from the real world. So yeah, these are different distortion modes, but let's leave it as it is. Let's not add any gain, and let's leave the output, and let's leave it exactly as it is. So when you play it dry, or play it just at its default setting, definitely already saturating it a bit. So yeah, let's do what you would do with a nice drive or distortion guitar pedal. Stick a boost of volume before it to see if you can get it to break up a bit. So let's try it with all three models. Cool. On the distortion model. Really chaotic, totally broken up there. And let's see the fuzz. Mental, absolutely mental, kind of 9 Inch Nails territory there. I love the way that it's broken up so much that it kind of interferes with the rhythmic element of the loop. That's really dope. Let's add more gain. Maybe some bass and some treble, and scoop the mids. Maybe do the opposite. Cool. Loads and loads of shaping to be had there. I imagine putting an EQ before this as well, kind of like you would on a guitar pedal board. It's going to really, really change what happens. Sweet. So that was 4 examples. And I will say that there's definitely more things to be explored here. One thing that I had a look at, which I won't go through because it could take a bit of time, is cab and amp. I definitely found that the cab model, the amp models rather, even playing with no added gain, boosting the input really, really, really made it sound crazy. But yeah, I'll leave that to you to explore. And also we could think about things like Max for Live devices, like the color limiter. And of course, third-party plugins, especially I found FabFilter plugins like Timeless and Saturn and Volcano all react really nicely to gain going in. So yeah, that was the general idea. This rack is super easy to make. 2 utilities, and I'll just quickly open the mapping, and as you can see, 0 to 35 dB and 0 to minus 35 dB. Very easy to make, and then you can just put some effects in the middle. Hope this has been really useful and fun, and I will see you next time. This is Merlyn Silva for the Ableton Certified Trainer Nordic Community.